Hello, internet friends. It is OOTP after talk, and I've got something in my throat. Perfect timing. Excuse me. Professional. Thank you, TJ, for the raid. So I'm excited because my guest tonight is an affiliate that I have watched, I think, twice, but I know very little about. And it turns out, as we were talking, I actually I understood the reference of their name, but didn't get it until it was laid out for me. So let's bring him in. Welcome in one of our newest affiliates. Don't tell Laptop he's part of HODL. It's Karini Harpua. I said it wrong. I don't know why I want to say Harpua.
That's all right, Ezra. No problem.
But it is Harpua, I have learned.
Yep. That's right.
And can if you put in the chat what you think that name means, because it is not, as I thought, a reference to Voltaire. I thought there was like a Voltaire thing going on, because there is a Harpua. There is a in one of his books. There's a Harpua as a fake country. And so I was like, oh, man, this is going to be amazingly literary. So how long have you been playing OOTP?
That's a good question. I've played the base game probably since 2021. I think maybe even 2019. Didn't really get into Perfect Team until the end of 25 was when I really started getting into it. And
how'd you find it?
OOTP in general. Well, I've always been a fan of simulation games. So I played, what was it called? I played Baseball Mogul when I was a lot younger. And then I eventually kind of found out that OOTP seemed like a more, I guess, advanced version of that. So gave that a shot and kind of got addicted. And then I realized what Perfect Team was. And then it's been history since then. I've just been chasing that, a bunch of different tournaments and league wins and all that stuff. It's been a lot of fun the past couple of years, for sure.
So when you started with the base game, did you do historical replays? Did you do seasons? What did you? What was your interface with the base game?
I'd say it was probably a little bit of both historical, and then if I got bored from that, I would actually probably I used to do my own little world where I have fictional teams, fictional players, start off with a draft, and just kind of evaluate and see how things progress throughout the years. See who set records, see who broke those records, things like that. Who the Barry Bondses were, things like that. I used to find a lot of fun. I was a big stats guy growing up, and that obviously has never gone away. So, always carried that with me.
Wow, thanks, Barnaju. Let me just... this guy's really friendly. He seems great. Seems like he's got a lot to offer.
Oh, look at that.
And now it's time to play I Forget How to Auto Mod. You'd think he'd mention, Barnaju, if you're not a bot, tell me not to ban you. Good Lord. How do I always forget this?
I don't know. It happens to the best of us. Yeah, let's ban Seawit. We could ban Seawit instead.
If I look, he's lucky I can't figure out how to ban.
Don't give Max lobbies for.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. First of all, anybody who would want to be a mod of this channel should be just, something should be checked. It's like security something.
Oh, I wish I could help, but just, I never have this many viewers. Well, I do sometimes.
Yeah, you've had a couple. So, are you kidding? Rachel would ban me. If gave Rachel mod powers? No. It would not go well for me. So you sort of stream catch as catch can. You don't have a set schedule. And most of your streams are tournament focused or team build focused, that sort of thing.
Yep.
So is that now the main way that you play OOTP?
Yeah, it's pretty much all perfect team between drafts, tournaments, league. I try to rebuild one or two teams a day if I have the motivation. Usually, just to try to keep my teams fresh.
God, that's so. I just get so tired of rebuilding teams.
Yeah, it becomes a lot. At some point, there will be a couple of weeks where I'll just let it ride, and sometimes I'll get the results. Most of the time, I wouldn't say I do get the results, but it'll come with the territory, I guess.
Do you find that there are certain levels that you just sort of connect with, or is it based on like the cards you pull?
Like in terms of tiers?
Yeah.
I've always been a silver guy. I main silver. I'll chase all the big time variants. For some reason, I feel like I settle into silver pretty nicely. But then beyond that, it's kind of wherever the cards lie, right? Like I try to hammer open.
Figured out to ban and how to ban.
Oh, good. There we go.
Hold on, I'm going to time out CWIT.
There we go.
Now I'm drunk with power.
See what's now realizing.
Oh, wait. No, my only option is to time him out for 24 hours. And
no, we can't do that.
I don't want to take this entertainment away from CWIT for 24 hours.
No, we can't do that.
So now that's interesting. So you play silver no matter what cards you draw.
Yeah, pretty much.
I find that in like the second week, if I draw like a good variant or something, I'm like, I guess I play gold now.
Yeah, that will kind of have an effect on how I pick like a secondary tier. I see everybody in chat saying I also do play live a lot. I won the last PTCS for live, which was a nice shock. But live, I think I play just because it's pretty easy to kind of really memorize the card shapes and know what cards play better than other cards. But also you get that the monthly updates. So there's going to be some kind of shifts to the meta. And also there is a difference in how you build live teams. I always tend to add like an extra pitcher in the bullpen versus, if you're playing like historical teams, I usually go with 7 in the pen. Live teams, I'll go with 8 in the pen. Just something I've always kind of done.
You go 13 pitchers or 14?
13.
Okay. Yeah, see, I go 13 off the jump. I do 13 as my standard, unless era, that sort of thing.
And it all depends on what you're playing too,
Yeah. Are you in the silver Dr. Dynastic Silver Live? That's a dead ball. I'm a big fan of that tournament.
You mean the Time Travelers?
Yes.
I won it a couple of days ago. I haven't actually, funny enough, I'm in Silver Slamboree right now in the finals, so that'll be wrapping up. I'll probably join the Time Travelers tournament when this ends. Hopefully I can end up with a victory.
Well, but, fingers crossed. Man, so you must then be close to the top of several leaderboards on the in the PTCS. I say this partly out of spite because my sort of I am the tortoise to your hair when it comes to the PTCS because I qualify by entering like 1,000 tournaments and coming in 9th through 16th in 30 of them.
Hey, you just get those points, man. That's what matters.
That is, and so, but that's what I always tell people is that qualifying for a PTCS, you don't have to be a silver sicko. You can just grind it out.
Right.
You can just keep jumping in and running things. I have a feeling you're just getting ragged on by HODL people now.
Yeah, that's how it goes. It is what it is.
It's the cheerful hazing.
They love me all the same. It's totally fine.
I believe I applied and I was told I wasn't smart enough.
That doesn't seem right. I'll have to have a talk with some of them.
I would never even presume to enter into those august halls. I am, you got to be more than Captain 9 through 16th to make it in those.
I don't think you do. I don't think you do.
Nixon 8. So are you looking? So you're mainly playing silver, and are you looking for specific tournaments? Are there specific eras or something that you prefer?
Well, that's funny that you asked that. People who know me know I prefer kind of the modern tournaments because I run openers like a cheese ball. So I kind of prefer that like 2010 and run environment. I don't mind the dead ball environment either because it's pretty easy to build for, even though it's a little more RNG heavy. But I in terms of silver tournaments, I usually I'll play like silver slots, silver slamboree, and then the weekly silver. And that's about it for silver. I think I'm trying to think if there's any other silver tournaments I really play. I usually try to qualify through those. And
so are you otherwise playing live tourneys? Is that your...
So live, I'll do drafts. I love live drafts. I think I really like this cycle, how you can qualify for live through drafts. Because I can do a live draft in like 3 minutes and crank that out really fast.
There's several fun live draft that's it's funny. I'm slower at the speed draft than I am at the actual draft. Like the actual draft, I'm done in 3 minutes. The speed draft, for some reason, I'm always at like 5 minutes worried.
Yeah, it's always a little nerve wracking when you have to deal with those quick drafts,
So you have, as Max pointed out, you have won Perfect League this cycle, and you're getting a ridiculous nodded. Oh, look at this! Here comes the flex. Wow, they get you that fast.
Yeah, it took a little while, but I was happy to get it. Figured I'd show it off.
Yeah, there you go. That's what they look like.
Yeah, they're nice. They're very nice. I don't know if I'll see another one this cycle, but I got my goal this cycle was to, you can ask anyone in HOTL, it was to win Perfect League and win a PTCS, and I've done that. So everything else is like gravy from this point out, really.
Man, it's now it's just retirement, and are you still in Perfect League or?
No, not this way. I've had a couple of rough weeks. In fact, my league team this week is kind of eating it. So I don't know if we have a couple of changes on the horizon. We'll see what happens. But
do you play any of the alternates? Do you do packs only or theme team or any of that?
I haven't. What I will do sometimes is late cycle. If I get bored, I'll do like a speed run team.
Yeah, the speed run is fun. I've never done that. I should try that.
It's fun. It's fun. The only thing is with the super promotion, it kind of wrecks that.
Yeah.
Because you'll end up going from iron to like high gold or low gold, and then you kind of just fizzle out. But building the team up until that point is a lot of fun.
Actually, this is a good idea. Actually, you should, and I'm just going to put this bug in your ear now. You should start to bug Nicolino about creating a silver, like your dream silver tournament. Figure out like a weird shtick and make a lot of fish references.
I like that. Our Carini Square Garden Silver Live. That's pretty funny.
Because I like the idea of because mine that I want to do that Openers only. Yeah, that's right. Everyone has to run openers.
That would actually be kind of interesting if you think about it. And then that kind of throws strategy in a whole different direction.
Because mine that I want to do someday, Nicolino, we're still trying to figure out if it could even happen. I want to do a variance draft.
Oh, that's
where, it's not, we'd have to figure out the card level and then the variant level.
Yeah.
So there'd be kind of, instead of high silver and low silver, there'd be like silver high variant, silver low variant, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And Nicolino says it can happen. There just needs to be a critical mass of them, and we have to figure out a way to make it at least slightly balanced.
Yeah,
that's the real trick. Because variants are even more unbalanced than actual cards.
Yeah,
and that adds a future layer. But so coming soon, that, and then my other one is Oops No Bums, where it'll be a whole draft with no Dodgers in it.
Can't complain.
I don't mind. That might be
idea.
A pop-up, but the problem is it's actually better to run that early because there are more Dodger cards the longer the year goes on.
Yeah, and a lot of them probably become meta too. So it's like
yes,
which makes sense.
I
have been bugging Spore about an Edgardo Alfonso silver card. I've been waiting for an Edgardo Alfonso silver card. I need it. He's my favorite, probably one of my favorite players ever. And I don't think he was in the cycle last year. But one day we'll get him. And
would this be a Mets card or?
Yeah, for sure.
You could make an Edgardo Alfonso Giants card.
No, I mean, I'm a big Mets fan. He would have to be a Mets card. I
mean, that's sort of what he's known as.
Yeah, for sure.
That is his main team. But yeah, I really think it would be fun to, and Nicolino is great about working with affiliates on figuring out tournament stuff. And so figuring out sort of a shtick in the silver level that could kind of could do some fun things for you. I think that would be a really neat way to.
I have been waiting for an all silver draft. I know we had a couple of those last cycle, so I'm waiting for those to pop back.
Were those pop-ups? I think
no, they were. I think there were a couple of dailies, and then there was a weekly that were all silver. And what I love doing in those is I love just picking just the right cards, so you're platooning just right. Everyone's got their spot in the lineup. It just feels really good when you're able to do that.
I mean, that's why. See, I like Dead Ball because I like to platoon, and Dead Ball, you've just got even more chances to platoon.
Yeah, you have so many roster spots towards hitters. It's crazy.
Yeah. Are you playing Seawit's tournament?
I have been. I think I had a decent run a couple of weeks ago. I'll definitely be in it this week.
I broke poor Max's brain by having him help me build a roster for it on my PAX only team. So he'd be like, "Do you have this card? No. Do you have this card? No."
Yeah, definitely a tough mold to fit. Sure.
The team was basically Max's 8th choice at every position.
Hey, as long as you filled out the cap, that's that's
right.
Fine,
it was all there, but it was I will spare you the pain of building for the current one, but yes, Max may never come on again.
If you beg him, he might.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Who knows?
So you said you were saying that you play a bunch of other sports simulation games. Were you Baseball Mogul, which I loved. I was a big, I'm old, so I was a big Front Page Sports baseball fan.
Okay.
Back in the 90s, that was Front Page Sports. I loved because you could schedule promotions to boost attendance. and so it could be like T-shirt day,
See,
and
that's
you'd
really cool.
you'd spend you'd spend a certain amount of capital up front to hope that you boosted your attendance
Yeah.
enough to
Yeah.
get people in the door. Fireworks night was always a big one. But Front Page Sports was like the best baseball sim I had ever played until OOTP came along. And and OOTP pretty much from the jump was just, it cleared the field.
That's how I felt too.
Is there a holy grail for you of a sport that you wish had a game like OOTP?
Oh man.
Because there's one right answer.
I mean, it would have to be football, right?
No, it'd have to be basketball.
Basketball.
There are
Well,
there are exactly no good basketball simulation games.
That's interesting. I would absolutely play an OOTP style basketball game too.
Way back in the day, like in the late 90s, there was Status Pro Basketball, like a text-based sim, basically.
Okay.
That was okay, but not great. I would love to. That's always been my thing, because they're actually. I don't know if it's been released in a while, but Front Office Football was pretty good, although it was mainly a salary cap simulator more than anything.
Yeah, it's not like OOTP, but I think the thing is with the way finances work in today's NBA, and even with the MLB, like, I'm not going to say OOTP doesn't get it right, but it's hard to get right. It's hard to get it right on every level.
Yeah, I would say that the financial aspect of the base game is probably the weakest part of it.
Yeah. And even
especially
though it's not that bad, it's just you have to kind of set your own boundaries a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and because I play so much historical, the finances start to get a little very strange very quickly. Where like we're playing it, it's 1988, and a team's like, we're going to give you a 7-year, $10 million a year contract, which if it had happened at the time would have given every columnist over 40 an aneurysm.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the 80s were still the era of, why are we paying these guys $1 million? The one that I like, this is actually a web-based one. Basketball GM is a really fun browser.
I've heard of it.
But it is mainly a salary cap simulator, not so much a game engine.
Right. I've heard of that.
But yeah, no, I would love to have a good basketball game. One of my favorite things, I am lucky enough to get to go to Europe fairly frequently. They have the weirdest simulation games. They'll have pro badminton.
Really?
Basically, they will do, probably now it's AI slop, but back in the day, they would just have whatever you think Championship Manager, they would just have, here's Championship Manager for pro cycling. Here's Championship Manager for pro badminton. It's so good to find team handball.
See, that would actually interest me. A little niche game like that would probably catch my interest for a little while, just because it's so niche. And handball is one of those sports that it's not very widespread, but it's interesting.
D-Block was like an amateur, a club level handball player. So
that's pretty cool.
He could sit there and critique our management.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. I mean, I don't know enough about the strategy to.
I just remember that we played it in PE. That was it was one of the units in our PE for some reason. So I knew funny. European handball because of that.
That's really funny.
But then you watch the real people play it. And
oh man!
Now what I really want is during COVID, we all had a lot of time on our hands, and I think many people did weird deep dives. I've talked about this on After Dark before, but one of Rachel and I's weirdest deep dives was the Indian sort of unofficial national sport, kabaddi, which is kind of full contact tag.
Interesting.
It is this bonkers sport. And here's the funny part. There are two very divergent schools of kabaddi. One is like WWFized, where like there are teams and they have colors and, like here's the Punjabi, Vipers and that sort of thing.
That's
and
funny.
then there are terrifyingly large shirtless men just destroying each other. And like, if you just go into YouTube and type in kabaddi, it's 50-50 of like,
that's really funny.
Oh, look, this is like, these graphics look like, 80s, 80s NBA or something. And then, those two guys are going to kill each other. This is terrifying.
Beating the crap out of each other, yeah.
The idea of kabaddi is that one team is attacking and one person from the attacking team is trying to touch the back line of the other team. Mm-hmm. And the other team is trying to encircle him and then tackle him. And if he can dart in, touch the line, and dart back without being encircled and tackled, that's a point. And there's this whole like players get eliminated, and it's like the rules when you get to like the league stuff are very strange, but we for some reason we became fascinated with it, and so I've actually looked on Steam. Is there like a kabaddi manager game? It is. Rachel found we're here in Northern California, and she found a kabaddi championship that happened like in a state. It was like in a weird outside stadium in like Folsom or something, and it was much more of these shirtless guys beating the crap out of each other style. But yeah, no, actually, I played TEW back in the day. That was a good one. That one was very strange.
Interesting.
So when you're building a when you're building a team in OOTP, like how long does it take you to kind of figure out this year I matters or this year avoid K doesn't matter?
Oh man, it took me forever this cycle. I let the people who are smarter than me figure that stuff out, and then I just try to make my own conclusions based on what they say.
Yeah, man, as much as I love like Angered Unicorn stuff, Seawit stuff, all of that, it kind of feels like it's solving tournament.
Yeah. And it's different with tournaments and league. Like league, I kind of weight things pretty differently because of the way everything, they try to have the totals match whatever the run environment is. So I don't really, tournaments, I think people tend to focus a lot more on power and probably avoid K, things like that. Whereas league, I tend to think it's a little more BABIP focused, BABIP and I focused. With also, you need to have a certain threshold of avoid K, so you're not absolutely getting mowed down every at bat. But that's kind of how I've been approaching it this cycle too. But there are definitely some cards in tournaments that have been performing really well that I haven't expected. A good example is Chick Stahl. Early cycle, he was actually a beast versus righties in silver. He had that really high avoid K, just enough BABIP to matter. And every time I checked in silver quicks, he would always be hitting like 350, 400.
But when you look at the card, you're like, eh.
Right, exactly. So there's some outliers that you're like, that's interesting how that performs,
Yeah, and that's where the sort of the stat aggregator sites are really helpful because you can see those.
Yeah,
and like right now, in Dead Ball, there's all this. Johnny Noon is projected to be the next best thing, and I just look at his ratings and I'm like, I just don't see it. But that and I mean, he's played pretty well for me, so I'm as beholden to the meta as anybody. Except my one zig is that I will go to my grave saying that OTP 27 Shohei Ohtani is a terrible card. Like, that card has just never performed for me, especially as a pitcher.
He's an interesting case, I think, because in previous, I guess, like last cycle, even early this cycle, you never really took him to pitch. You would take him to hit, right?
Right.
I think this lately, at least in my opinion, that's shifted a little bit. I think you look at his pitching stats, and he holds his own against almost every perfect live pitcher, except Skubal and Skeens, I think, are the two that really stand out. But all the other pitchers, I would say, are not as good as Shohei.
I can't, because I play a ton of live, and both my accounts have Shohei, and I've just been like, I almost want to upload the stats to, like, the aggregator sites just to, like, just to tank the numbers, because I swear it's just amazing. I can't. Maybe it's just the Shohei thing, but like I've stopped drafting Shohei now.
See, he's still an auto pick for me. I think it's just because of that two-way viability. It's so valuable. It's so valuable. It's hard to pass. I think the only other person you could feasibly take instead of him is Judge, and even then, it's still kind of a toss-up in my opinion.
I think it's more frustrating because you put in all your chips basically on Shohei, and then you're like, oh, good, I got a 5-point-something ERA and a 2.60, and that is just like. So it's substituted. I will take Witt fairly often just because it's really nice to have
his
a plus bat at shortstop, especially in live, especially and somewhat a power bat. That's pretty rare. But I pretty much stopped taking Soto a lot. I don't think the Soto plays that well.
I don't take him too much either, to be honest. I'm not a fan of his shape.
Yeah. I like the Skeens. Weirdly, but I mean, and this is just prisoner of the moment stuff. But I've not found Mizorowski to play that well in OOTP.
I don't think his shape plays all that well. The high stuff lends itself to kind of get knocked around still, weirdly enough.
Well,
unless
and
you're Mason Miller
stuff too. Like that the high stuff, you're throwing so many pitches to get those strikeouts.
Yeah, for sure. And then Mason Miller, I think, has always performed really well though in the relief aspect. Though he's nuts. He's just nuts.
Yeah. I think it's a little. The high stuff for a reliever, I'm less concerned about pitch count, because if my reliever's throwing 40 pitches, there are other problems.
No, that's true.
But well, and that's the trick also, is that all of this is, and that's why all the aggregator sites are so useful.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just a bunch of us going, well, for me, and so seeing stuff over a broad base and having that knowledge base is so valuable, because then you realize you're an outlier, or that you have had an experience that others have not had.
Makes sense.
And if 1 out of 10 people are having that, then it's probably not statistically significant.
Right.
But that one person, it's hard to tell them that.
Yeah, they're always going to be kind of stuck in their ways, right?
Right.
Because you can't change their opinion.
Everything I've seen is that Shohei Ohtani's a bum. And that. Do you find when you're playing live, do you divest yourself of kind of how the player is playing in real life, or does that because I will find ooh, that guy's playing pretty well this season. Let's take I'm going to draft him, and then I remember, oh wait.
I mostly just try to stick to the card shape. The only time I will actually consider that is if, let's say, I'm doing a live draft or something, and the update's going to happen before the draft fires. So then I'll try to, each round, I'll try to figure out, okay, what cards, outside of the cards that make the most sense, like Judge, Shohei, you're always going to take those.
Right.
But then I'll try to figure out, okay, what cards in this bunch aren't going to go down or have a good chance of going up. This way, when the draft fires, you get extra diamond cards, extra gold cards, try to give you that slight edge for that next draft. And I wouldn't say I'm too good at it necessarily. It's more luck than anything still, really.
So one thing, actually, now that you've said it, and partly to show my own ignorance here, that I think would be useful, because, you know, we probably have some new people watching. It's not just all the HODL hecklers. Is how do you build an opener lineup? So let's go into. We're gonna show people how to build. So let's do my low gold historical team here.
Make sure it's a modern run environment too.
Oh, that's a good call. Yeah.
Trust me, I've every time I'm in like a tournament with an older run environment, I always get bummed out when I was opener option. You know. Let's
we'll do a live. That is We'll do live gold. Okay. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Here we go. Roster builder. Live gold. So what we're talking about, in case you're not familiar, Carini is the king of the opener. He always puts him in there. And an opener lineup is essentially, I want to say Tony La Russa was the first to really do this. There was like a terrible A's season in the early 2000s where La Russa just said, here's our plan. Somebody's going to start the game. They're going to go 3 innings. Then the starters will come in and they'll pitch like 5 innings. And then whoever is going to close or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The starters, all the pitchers hated it because, the starters were getting robbed of innings and wins and all that.
And they have their routine stuff too.
Yeah. So when you are, it's in strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're essentially building a fake lineup, or you're starting with a lineup to convince the computer to play all its left-handers, and then 2 innings later you go, whoop, I was joking. And the thing is, it's pretty easy to I won't say it's easy because I suck at it, but so if you say use opener lineups,
yep.
And then I don't even know, where do you build the opener lineup?
Go to lineups.
Oh,
and then you'll see that you see opener lineups.
Yeah,
right
there we go. So you can make a lineup versus right-handers and left-handers to be as openers, and essentially you can you can set these to have. Well, I think that was actually after, because that was in wasn't that in Tampa where he did that?
Yeah, Tampa, I think, did a lot of opener shenanigans years ago too.
I think that was when Piniella was managing Tampa, and he was like, "Oh, we're just gonna throw whoever the hell I want out there." And then, but like La Russa, because he was Tony La Russa, when he wasn't passing out at traffic lights, was. He had like a whole plan. So they had this graph of like, here's group A, and somebody from group A is going to start the game and they're going to pitch 1 to 3 innings. And then here's group B, and somebody from group B is going to come in. That's right. Substituted. You build them. This is essentially the opposite.
Yeah.
So you'd make a lineup here. And this is only to defend. This would only happen if someone else was running an opener lineup.
Right. Exactly.
And so it would be just a quick way to normalize what you're doing. In my opinion, well, look, I'm a lazy bum, so I don't do it for tournaments. I do it for my league teams. Although I don't see a lot of openers in league.
Usually it's a micro thing. If I'm doing it in league, I'm microing it. So I haven't had the time to do it lately. And it's been biting me in the butt, too. So, you know,
It's one of those. I mean, it's one of those things that is pretty easy to do and doesn't take a lot of time, and you can kind of set it and forget it.
yeah,
And honestly, I think it's a better thing than messing around with sliders a whole lot, because messing around with sliders can really go sideways.
tell me about
I
it.
say that, of course, and here are all my sliders changed, but um, do you mess around with strategy a lot?
I generally have like one preset strategy I use, and it's based off of the modern sabermetrics, but it's just tweaked a little bit. Especially for like hook, I'll mess with pitcher hook depending on what inning it is. I usually have pitch around and intentional walk cranked pretty far down, but I might actually mess around with intentional walk. I actually had some success last cycle with intentional walk cranked all the way up. So I might start playing around with that. And then it's kind of weird. You're at the mercy of the engine a lot of the time. So,
well, and more importantly, the AI.
Yeah, that AI manager will get you, man.
Yes.
He will get you.
Yes. It is guaranteed the one player you don't want to play in a game will come up in a pressure situation.
Yeah.
That's just what the AI manager does.
Yep. Nailed it. Exactly.
And so if you're new to the game, I don't know who said it. At this point, it might be apocryphal, but I know that Sporers quoted it and others. But fooling around with sliders can lose you more games than it will probably win you.
For sure.
But just say just say you are going to. One thing that I would recommend is using these timing settings.
Yeah.
So that you aren't just playing, because the game is not played the same, we all know, in the various situations. And so setting timings for various strategies, like maybe late in the game, you don't want to, you want to turn some things down. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Or you want to pinch hit more late in the game.
Yeah,
and you don't want to pinch hit as much early in the game. That sort of thing. And so there are some... I'm always here for a Tony La Russa joke, brother. As a Giants fan, never forgiven 89. Yeah, and I think the presets, if you fool around with the presets, you can find some good stuff. Ironically, now for Dead Ball, I actually run so there you've got a ton of weird managers in here. I actually run Casey Stengel for Dead Ball.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I have liked it.
Huh.
But so there are just tons. Sadly, there's no Roger Craig. Because that would just be throw the split finger fastball and always steal after a pickoff attempt. Those were the hallmarks of Roger Craig's strategy. He was a big fan. But yeah, openers, setting an opener lineup, again, it probably makes more. I mean, doing it for tournaments and then forgetting about it is okay, but it can definitely be a nice way to give yourself a little edge against the one team that has that does an opener lineup in a tournament you're in.
Yeah. They felt more prevalent last year too. I don't see a lot of people running them this cycle so far. Maybe that'll change down the road, but I think with the way Paul has built relief pitching so far and how good the relief pitchers are, I think it can be beneficial to try to get as many early innings out of your relievers too, in my opinion.
That's interesting. So maybe upping your your hook a little.
A little bit, yeah. You want, but you have to try to find that balance. You don't want your reliever, your bullpen to get like too fatigued either.
Right. And again, that's where me as mainly a dead ball player, I'm like, what, relievers?
Yeah, you
We
just
don't
let your
use
starters go for a year,
Yeah.
and then they don't get
Yes.
tired. It's crazy.
I have had 5L tournaments where I made it to like the late rounds and had like 2 innings total
Yeah.
from my bullpen. You know,
Yeah.
Old Hoss Radburn is probably still pitching.
Yeah, he's nuts.
You know.
He's what an insane card.
Yeah.
That's the ideal dead ball card, to be honest.
Yeah, it is bonkers. But it's fun to see how, and I mean, partly because Sporer really likes the 5L and that sort of thing. You know, he's been putting out these cards that are these absurd shapes that would never be successful in any other milieu but the 5L.
Yep.
And it's really fun to see those cards pop up and have a weird domination.
Yeah.
You know, Spud Johnson and things like that just would never normally be involved. So what is one easy thing that somebody who's relatively new to the game could do to be better in tournaments?
Oh, that's a great question. I think just get used to reading observed stats. Like you were mentioning all those websites earlier. I think just getting familiar with those websites, having a website or two to upload data to, being part of that community, and then understanding what the observed stats mean. I think that's been the biggest part for me, is just like looking week to week at how certain cards are performing, understanding why they perform that way, and then saying, okay, is this card worth it to chase as a variant? Will it have a good life cycle? Will it stick around for a while? Things like that. So as a newer player, I would definitely recommend trying to familiarize yourself with some of those websites and just understanding what the observed stats are trying to tell you. How do you want to build a team that's based off of like really dominant WOBA? Do you want to look at some of do you want to sort by war and try to build your team that way? Because I think some calculations take defense into account. So, you could think about it a couple of different ways,
Yeah, and that's an interesting, I was going to ask, when you go on those websites, what stat are you looking at? Because I know a lot of people do WOBA, especially with a larger sample size, because WAR can be a little
iffy.
Wonky.
Yeah, for sure. I look at WOBA, and if it's a premier like defensive position, I'll also take WAR into account, because I've seen like your Juan Uribe, your Tony Fernandez, they might not have the best WOBA, but their WAR is just like through the roof because of how good defensively they are, right? Like they're just going to carry you at second base, at shortstop. They're going to make so many more plays than someone with much worse or even average defense. So you're going to eventually gain an edge just from having that kind of defense in the field. And then anything you get from the bat is just a plus,
And what about on the pitching side? Is it WOBA against?
Yeah.
Basically?
Yeah. It's pretty much strictly WOBA, or you could go FIP. I've started.
Yeah, I like FIP a lot. I will look at FIP, and I have to admit, I know it's not great, but I actually like WRC plus.
Oh, interesting. That's an interesting metric.
Which, look, let's be clear, could have something to do with my tournament's success.
Hey,
or
maybe.
lack thereof.
Oh. Well, you never know.
But I've just always liked that since like the Status Pro days of trying to compare players, and so that has sort of been, but again, that's strictly offensive and not really useful for pitching,
Right.
So I think WOBA is definitely the best measure, I think, for pitching, with FIP being kind of the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with you on that front for sure.
And so please, if you are the purveyor of one of those websites, drop some links in the chat. I don't want to drop a link because I'll forget, because there's like 3 or 4 of them, and I think I only know 2 of them, so I don't want to leave anybody out. But please, if you have one of those, drop a link in the chat and let people find the data, because it is good stuff to have.
Yeah. 100%. Very useful stuff.
I like how somebody. Thank you for following just to slag the Mets. That is commitment.
I can't deny
Yeah,
they're
I
pretty
mean that's the
terrible,
one.
man.
I see what stats is good. Angered Unicorn has one.
I know XTO has one. HOTL has their own
Extapora
site
has
too.
one. Yeah. And doesn't Exto do a PT Live one too?
Yeah, between that and Bean Counter, both kind of have their own PT Live interfaces. And what I like about Xtos is he does give you a good good view for like live spec too. Based on their zips, how are players doing? If they're kind of undershooting their zips, are they worth quick selling or holding on to? So that gives you a good kind of shell for what your live spec looks like too,
Yeah, I remember when Angered was actually on the show early when he was building that app. It was really neat to see. So when you are, you can have all the numbers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
How are you kind of synthesizing that data? Are you looking at it positionally? So are you doing like who's the best WOBA catcher in this tournament, or are you kind of just give me all the names in the tournament and then let's figure out who I want from that?
So usually when I build a team, I'll do it by position, kind of like you said. And I have I'm lucky enough to have a couple of models at my disposal too, to see how these cards might project in that specific run environment at the stadium that you're playing at. So I'll use that in conjunction with the observed data, and I'll go position by position. So I'll start, and let's say you're building a roster for a modern tournament. So usually you'll look at 12 pitch. I'll usually go 12 pitchers, 5 starters, 7 relievers, and I'll start with my 5 starting pitchers, and I'll say, okay, what do the models kind of say? What does the observed data say based on certain sample sizes? And there's so many different strategies you could play, right? You can try to run pitchers of all the same handedness if it's a very platoon heavy tournament to try to tire out some of those players and get favorable matchups. You can run the best pitchers. You can run openers. There's so many different strategies you can employ. I'm personally a fan of running all the same handed pitchers, or doing that plus running openers to try to really get some kind of edge. But I've always thought like, okay, if I'm running 5 righties with all lefty openers, and let's say your opponent's not running opener lineups, eventually they're gonna get favorable matchups because of how the fatigue plays out. Right. So it's kind of a hit or miss strategy. Sometimes it works out, other times it doesn't. And again, you have to also keep in mind, like, oh, how exhausted is my bullpen going to be? Is it worth it? Early cycle was really hard to work that out because of the stamina on some of these cards.
Yeah, now, especially the live cards.
Yeah, I actually hardly ever run openers in live tournaments because of that, because I'm too worried my bullpen's just going to get gassed. But with some of the cards recently, it's been a lot easier to account for that. So especially in like quicks too, I try to keep an eye on like what my bullpen looks like, if there's any flaws there, and it seems to hold its own okay.
Yeah, that's interesting, huh? Because part of my team building part also, because one of my teams is packs only, is there's also a what card do I have aspect to.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it, is that, unless you are very lucky or very perfect leaguey, you might not have the latest and greatest cards. And but that's where these aggregate sites can really help finding a diamond in the rough, finding a card that you have. You can sort of say like, where is this card that I have in that firmament?
Yep. Yeah. And that's ultimately what it comes down to, right? Because in plenty of tournaments, there's still cards that I don't have that I really would love to have. So you kind of go, all right, what's my next best option? How do I approach this? How does this change my overall lineup? Most of the time, it doesn't. But sometimes there can be things that, the way I look at it is I think about 4 guys who can play against lefties and righties, and then you try to platoon the rest. But if you don't have one of those like key 4 guys, how does that change the dynamic of everything else? At least in like modern tournaments, when you're running 12 pitchers, the math just kind of works out. So you have 4 guys playing both ways, and then you can platoon the rest of the way. But it's not going to work out like that all the time. Depending on like you said, what cards you have, it's different.
How important have you found defense in this environment?
It's been all over the place this cycle. I know that a lot of people were running the numbers, and based on what I was seeing and what everyone else was seeing, it looked like second and third base were 2 of the like most important defensive positions, whereas in previous cycles it was like shortstop and second base.
Yeah, shortstop and center field were sort of
center field. Yeah, center field. So what I'll do is I'll prioritize middle infield, center field, and then third base. This cycle, I've focused a little more on defense. I'll try to make sure at least my third baseman has a good arm, because that will get you more outs than not.
Right.
But for second base and shortstop, it's like range, double play, things like that. Center field, it's whoever has the most range, throw them out there, and hope they can just chase down whatever fly ball comes their way.
Yeah, and right field is arm.
Yep. And then left field, you just kind of throw whoever in there and hope for the best.
And left field, it's WOBA. WOBA is the most important defensive stat.
Exactly.
It's interesting. I have found and I know that franchise has done a lot of really interesting experiments seeing in the base game, which is, again, if you're new, the base game and the tournament engines are very different, and the league engine is like a third different animal. And so, when you watch like franchises experiments about catcher defense or that sort of thing, it's always good to remember that what is true in base game probably isn't true in tournaments and may not be true in league environment.
Yeah, it's absolutely
just because of the wild vagaries and the what is it, the normalizing or whatever they call it, the
normalization. Yeah, that's a big part of league too. That's why I don't put all my eggs in the power basket. I'll run a power heavy park, but I'm not going to run a bunch of guys that have only power, because they're not going to hit 70 home runs. They'll hit 20, 25 maybe if you're lucky.
But if you've just gotten out of the entry pool and you've never played, that is one super important thing. Sunday, change your park.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out, like, do I have a lot of left-handers? Do they have power? Okay, maybe I need to find a park that is good for left-handers. That can have almost as big a difference as, pulling a really good card.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've seen a lot of interesting strategies with ballparks so far this cycle. Like, obviously you get some people running all right-handed lineups, right-handed pitching, and then they just stack their park with like, they make sure that it's a righty effect, like righty heavy park, and it generally works pretty well. And it makes me angry when I don't think of it myself, because it's a really brilliant way to play the game, in my opinion. But also, I like to have like a semblance of balance in my lineup. Like, I just have trouble running out a truckload of righties against a right-handed pitcher, just because that's, my brain doesn't like that.
8 right-handed DHs, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
A team that can be very effective.
Yeah, but you got to do it right.
I've actually been this cycle, unlike other cycles, I've been running pitcher parks.
Interesting.
I've been like trying to zig, and so I've been, because I was also for a long time I had better cards on my pitching side than I did on my hitting side, and so I was just like, I'm going to leverage the one advantage I might have here.
That makes sense, though. That makes sense.
I mean, that's how you choose a park, is like, look at your team and what is the one thing you do well? Find a park that accentuates the one thing you do well.
Yep, and that's what all the high-level players will tell you. I've heard that from countless number of players.
And I mean, that is like the number one thing you could do early in your OOTP Life to make your team better. Just always don't get out of the default park and go to a better park. So we are Karini has been very kind in playing along with my stupid gimmick here, and we're going to do a 9-inning draft. And it turns out that Karini is something of a comedy fan, so we're going to do a 9-inning draft of comedians. So the way it works is we're just going to draft 9 comedians, schoolyard pick 'em, and we have 2 specialty categories. One is British comedians, because I love Britcoms, and one is 70s comedians, because I'm old. So, as always, the visitor gets to go first. So, what is your first pick?
Well, I feel like this would be a lot of people's first picks. It's got to be George Carlin, the OG one-liner GOAT. Oh, I'm thinking of Mitch Hedberg, but George Carlin was still hilarious.
I was really hoping Carlin would somehow be around for the 70s.
I had to take Carlin.
Carlin is
the GOAT.
He is, in fact, unless you're really old like me and you and you think of like Tom Lehrer or something like that, George Carlin is sort of the comedian.
Yeah. So I just have to go with him,
It's a fantastic pick. I'm going to go with somebody we were just talking about because I like to zig. My first pick is Weird Al.
Oh, that's a really good one.
Because I really like Weird Al, and I think that, one of the things I really like in comedy is people who are different. It's not just set up punchline. They have a shtick of some sort. Like there was a guy several years ago who was a bog standard comedian, but he did everything as if he were like an effete English nobleman. He wore like a smoking jacket, and he was almost literally doing like, what's the deal with airline peanuts? But he was doing it as this character, and that was like so weird and kind of compelling.
That is funny.
I really like that. All right, your number 2 pick.
So I know we were just talking about, having that like one-liner type of deal. It's got to be Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, I love Hedberg.
He's just
what's funny?
Hilarious.
My number 2 pick is going to be kind of like this because I'm going to pick Rich Hall and Sniglets.
Okay. Yeah, it is a good one.
Although not quite as... Hedberg was more cerebral.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I love about Hedberg. But Rich Hall was just weird. It was just these weird, and I really liked that. I like weird stuff. What can you say?
No, it's a really good pick for sure.
And now things start to get weird. Who is your British pick?
So I'm going to zig a little bit here. A little newer age comedian who I think is actually hilarious, Jimmy Carr.
Please don't say Russell Brand. Please
No. Jimmy Carr.
I love Jimmy Carr.
He is very funny in my opinion.
I'm a Cats Doing Countdown maniac. He's so good at that, at being like the sort of feckless host.
Yeah.
But then you see then he goes and he does like stadium shows and he's like an insult comic.
Yeah.
He like roasts people.
Yeah. It's hilarious too.
Yeah. He's really good at it. He is such a I kind of in my head shoehorned him in as just sort of host guy. But then I started to see like all of his stadium shows, and he's a totally different comedian.
Yeah, 100%. And he's very funny.
And one of the most important things in comedy, he realizes the importance of letting people mock him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, he's
100%.
not his self-importance is part of the act. It is not real.
Right.
You know, because like one of the whole points of like all the jokes on Countdown are that, you know, they're just poking holes in Jimmy Carr. And that's super important. You know, I think I'm a big Jimmy Carr fan.
Yeah.
I think he's really good. My pick is going to be is a little out there, as we've been saying. Also quite old, but so my pick is actually a comedy troupe, and it is this is BBC Radio from the 60s.
Oh, that's interesting.
There was something called the Goon Show. And the Goon Show was just a murderer's row, like Marty Feldman, all these people. And they would just, it was kind of Monty Python for the radio and in the 50s and 60s. And I actually learned about them because when I was a kid, my dad had a book of their act.
Oh, that's really cool.
Of like this very non-politically correct whole kind of show they did about Africa with Alec Guinness, for Pete's sakes. I think you can see some of their stuff on YouTube, I think. Let me see if I can but you know, it and Monty Python started my my sort of love of British comedy, which has kind of gone all the way, you know, has kept going. Peter Sellers was also a big, who may or may not appear later, was also a big Goon Show guy.
I can see that being that's a great pick.
So your number 4 pick.
So I mean, I love comedy movies too, and in my opinion,
hold on, before you pick, this is how did you get interested in comedy?
I just like laughing, and I like making people laugh. You know, since I was a kid, I used to go with my MP3 player. I used to have, you know, Lewis Black and all these different comedians, and I used to just kind of listen to them and just get a real kick out of them. So I ever since then, I just think it's been something I've always really enjoyed, from either movies or just stand up. I've just really, really enjoyed it. It's always good to laugh, you know?
Yeah. These days.
Yeah, tell me about it, right?
And I mean, you know, it's also interesting because comedy is such a weird, I don't know, fraternity almost, but like, you know, there's this weird, like, you got to pay your dues kind of thing. And,
right.
You know, and sort of the Calvinist school of comedy. And, you know, but like then once you're in, you're in.
You're in, yeah, you know? Exactly.
And like people like you have people you've never heard of that sitting at the table with Chris Rock, because Chris Rock is like, this guy's funny, you know?
Yeah.
That sort of
yeah, and they bring you into the fold for sure.
Yeah. It's like a weird, you know, like New York, LA meritocracy like thing. It's very strange, the whole world. There was a really interesting TV show that I watched during COVID about that. I don't remember the comedian's name, but it was called, it was about him trying to get started as a comedian, and he was like couch surfing. I think that's what it was called.
Oh,
couch surfing.
Okay.
And I don't remember the guy's. He's very popular now, and he may or may not show up later. But was it couch surfing? Let me see. Couch surfing TV.
Crashing? I don't think we're crashing.
Crashing. That's what it was. Crashing. Oh. Yeah. Don't get old, kids. Don't get old. But yeah, Crashing was like a really neat sort of glimpse into that world.
Okay. I can see that. Definitely. So I think
your number 4 pick.
My number 4 pick has to be Leslie Nielsen.
Oh God, I love Leslie Nielsen.
Airplane, in my opinion, is the single best comedy movie to ever be created.
He, by the way, is an all-time Letterman guest.
Oh yeah,
because he would go on Letterman. And so for those of you who don't know, Leslie Nielsen's shtick was he was a ridiculous child who played everything like a 50s matinee idol straight. And so he like would go on Letterman and have a whoopee cushion, you know, like sort of the lowest of lowbrow comedy.
Yeah.
But he would just play it so straight, and that was the joke.
Yeah. He was so funny. He was so
so
and just
good.
Airplane is probably one of my favorite movies of all time too.
And I'm a big Police Squad fan. I love Police Squad and
That's
his work in that. And then later on in the Naked Gun.
Naked Gun, yeah. Naked Gun is so good too.
I was shocked how much. Now look, I watched it on an airplane, so jet lag makes everything funnier. But I was kind of shocked how much I enjoyed the new Naked Gun with Liam Neeson. I was genuinely surprised.
I've been meaning to actually watch that. I still need to kind of watch that because I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah,
too.
I was really impressed. I thought it was great. My number 4 is maybe the most modern name on this list so far. So Dana Gould is a comedian who's been around. He was a writer for the head writer for The Simpsons for a number of years.
Yep.
He was big in the SF comedy scene for a long time. But his new shtick is kind of bonkers, and I love it. He dresses as Dr. Zaius, the orangutan from Planet of the Apes, and he acts as if Dr. Zaius was a 70s party animal, and he just tells stories about like the golden age of Hollywood. I was there with Golda Meir and Ruth Buzzy,
right?
And we were topless in the and just like it's these bonkers stories of like random things, and he does like now he does like interviews and clips and stuff like that. But just the conceptual leap to like decide that Dr. Zaius is now a Borscht Belt comedian is fascinating to me.
That's
he's
good.
got a pretty good. Did he buy like a Dr. Zaius mask? Did he where did it start? It's such a good weird bit.
And that's how all comedy starts. It starts as a bit and it just evolves into this just diatribe of hilarity, you know?
Yeah, well, that's how good comedy starts.
Yeah, exactly.
Bad comedy starts with I've written a bunch of jokes.
Oh man.
What was it? There was Chris Rock had that famous thing where he's like, find your lane and stay in it. And that find your voice as a comedian.
Yeah.
And then don't deviate from that. Know what's sort of where you are and what you should be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, 100%. And my fifth pick, not to rush, but
no.
He's not for everyone, but his style of comedy was right up my alley. Norm Macdonald.
I'm a big fan. He, I love sardonic, and he was sardonic.
His deadpan, I'm going to bomb and it's going to be hilarious, would get me every single time. So funny. He was so funny.
And his, the way that he would, like, one of my favorite thing about Norm Macdonald is everyone else's Norm Macdonald impersonation. Because like all these other comedians do like this extended Norm Macdonald. He's like, and then there's horse. Like everyone has like a Norm Macdonald. They can't tell a story without becoming Norm Macdonald. That's a great pick. He is, funny too, because he kept getting sort of pulled into the like Hollywood TV game. And he clearly just wasn't interested in playing the game. He was just going to be Norm no matter what.
Exactly.
And so it led to some like bizarrely discordant, what was I think the show was actually called Norm, but it was just like, it was, you watched it and you're just like, is everyone else in a different show? It's very confusing.
That's a really good way to describe him, though, right? He's just on a different plane of existence a lot of times.
Yeah, and
so
I mean, funny. You know, he thinks about things in a way nobody else does, and incredibly brave. I mean, he had the bully pulpit of Saturday Night Live. He had the plum job in Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
and he threw it all away because he wouldn't stop making jokes about the head of NBC loving O.J. Simpson. And so he just would lead with O.J. Simpson stuff every single time, and that got him fired.
And that's why I love Norm. He just had he had the guts to just go out and say what he wanted to, and his delivery was just so funny. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, he is a wonderful. You know, the other guy probably won't make my list, but Bob Saget gets a lot of that same. You know, everybody thinks of him as the nice guy from Full House.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did you ever see the documentary, The Aristocrats?
Yeah.
And like, you know, Bob Saget just tells this incredibly dirty version of that joke. And that was his shtick on stage, was that he was just incredibly dirty.
Yeah. I think Gilbert Gottfried made that joke pretty widespread, the Aristocrats joke. That joke kills me. It's a funny joke.
I almost put Gilbert Gottfried on this list just so I could go, Jaffa! But, my favorite Gilbert Gottfried thing, he would definitely be an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Before I had the good sense to marry Rachel, I watched a lot of bad TV, and I watched this like celebrity cooking show.
Oh,
and
boy.
Gilbert Gottfried, who clearly just wanted a paycheck, was part of it. And like the very first thing was like, you know, cook something. And they're like, well, Gilbert, what have you made for us? Today, I have made for you a grilled cheese sandwich. And it was just like, he took 10 minutes to make a grilled cheese sandwich. And, you know, he was, of course, the first person eliminated. But, and had, you know, he seemed sort of sad. He's like, I just wish I could have showed them what else I could do with a grilled cheese sandwich. Just like, and you're like, did they not realize what they were? I mean, it was,
that's funny.
Yeah, Norm Macdonald is fantastic, and he did so many different weird things. You know, he had like SNL, he had his TV show, he was very popular in the beginning of the podcast era.
Yeah,
you know, and also, I think it has to be said, he kept the fact that he had like "you're gonna die" cancer completely.
Very quiet.
You know, he didn't even make it. Wasn't, you know, that for a lot of people that would have become their act.
Yeah, and he didn't. No one knew
he did anything.
Yeah, and it makes sense if you think about it. That's just who he was. You know.
Yeah. Great pick. My number 5 pick is, once again, probably too intellectual, but just someone who, whenever I hear them speak, I laugh and I learn something, and that's Stephen Fry.
Oh, I love Stephen Fry.
Is who I want to be when I grow up. He is this English. Now he's sort of, it's weird because now but like, friends, if you have the chance, if you can find on streaming or whatever, a British show called A Bit of Fry and Laurie. It's Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie doing sketch comedy.
Oh, I bet that's so good.
It's like the English Mr. Show is how I would describe it. But Stephen Fry is so incredibly erudite, but so willing to be silly and to kind of undermine that erudition with silliness.
Yeah. He's what a great pick. I love Stephen Fry.
I still remember when oh God, what was his name? The guy who was doing the Late Late Show left, and they were like trying guest hosts. And they had one of the hosts they tried was Stephen Fry, and Stephen Fry just had an hour-long conversation with Gore Vidal. And I loved it, but I was like, he's never getting this job. But he really wasn't, and he's just like, I have a chance to do what I want to do,
Right.
For an hour of network television, and so I'm going to do that. He just and the voice, like
his voice is phenomenal.
He ends up like narrating like a third of the video games that you like. He does so much voice work and stuff.
And I'm a big Harry Potter guy, and he does the audiobooks, and like I'm addicted to. He's so good, good.
I love Stephen Fry. Yeah. All right, your sixth pick.
My sixth pick. So I got a couple of names in mind. I think I've got to go with one of the more obvious ones, and it's got to be Robin Williams.
Oh man, that was going to be my next pick.
And when I think of Robin Williams, one of the things, like Flubber was like in my childhood, that kind of I grew up with that movie. But I was growing up a huge fan of the show Whose Line Is It Anyway? And when he guest starred on that show, he was far and away the best guest star they ever had. He was so funny. So funny. And even his stand-up was just hilarious. So good. It's a shame.
Yeah, he's amazing.
It's a shame that he went out the way he did, because like that whole situation sucks. You never want to see anyone suffer, but man, he was so funny. His energy was infectious.
And just, I mean, there's never been, I think, a more kind of dangerous is the wrong word, but just you never knew where it was going to go. But you knew it was going to go somewhere good.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
And that was the power of Robin Williams, of just like boom, 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 boom. He was the smartest guy in the room and the fastest guy in the room. And he had a reference for everything. I love Robin Williams, and Bay Area guy. There was my brother was a very good painter of little Warhammer miniatures.
Mm-hmm.
The little plastic soldiers, and Robin Williams paid my brother to paint an army for him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So he paint some models. I don't think he painted the whole army, but
that's still really cool.
He painted some models for him. So he was Robin Williams liked Warhammer. That made me happy.
That is really cool.
Well, okay, we're gonna go because my list isn't skewing old enough. So Charlie Chaplin, I have too many English comedians on here. Charlie Chaplin is fantastic.
Yeah.
Weirdest thing you're going to learn today, Charlie Chaplin was on the boat when Natalie Wood died, which is very strange. But Charlie Chaplin is fantastic. But my pick is actually the American Charlie Chaplin, Harold Lloyd.
Oh, that's a good one.
Harold Lloyd was a mainly silent movie comedian who was famous for doing like all of his movies had like stunts that were super dangerous, like that involved moving trains or like and this is the 10s and the 20s, so there were not like we're gonna build a fake set. This is not a CG train. He's on a moving train trying to do this, but he was also a great physical comedian, and I love physical comedy. Physical comedy is one of my favorite things.
Yeah, 100%.
He was such a good physical comedian, but he was also he had a sense of what movies could be in terms of like scale and scope and like bombast. He wanted to like blow people away in the theater.
Yeah.
So if you get a chance, if you let's see if I can very quickly find since probably Harold Lloyd is not a household name. His most famous bit is he did a whole bit hanging off of a clock at the top of a building.
Oh, okay.
And just the physical comedy of the various ways that like the clock arm slides down and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Just like some just great nuanced physical comedy work, but also incredibly dangerous at the same time.
Risky, for sure.
So Harold Lloyd, well worth your time and a fun YouTube deep dive. But again, someday go check out the fact that Charlie Chaplin was on. Charlie Chaplin may or may not have killed Natalie Wood.
Essentially, is what we're getting at.
It's very weird to think, that because that was like the 70s. But Charlie Chaplin was still around.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about too.
Yeah, he actually. So when he was blacklisted from Hollywood, he started a studio a few miles from here in a little town called Niles, California, and they still have like a museum there to him.
That's pretty cool. That's very cool.
All right, your 70s pick.
So,
my whole list is 70s picks.
I was thinking about this. There's one obvious choice, but I haven't. It's Richard Pryor is the obvious choice.
Yeah.
But admittedly, haven't seen too much of his stand-up, so I don't feel right picking him.
Oh, I think, man. So you want to I used the word dangerous earlier. Like Pryor's stuff was he was like start a race war comedy dangerous. Richard Pryor was but also just such a as you were saying with Robin Williams, the tragedy of his story. Yeah. Just the tragedy of his addiction, and then I believe it was MS. Was just bad times.
It is sad, but I wouldn't feel right picking him just because I haven't seen a lot of his comedy. So that being said, I would probably say Steve Martin.
Oh, I love Steve Martin, and I'm bummed because I wanted him to be one of my picks. I love his writing.
Really good writer.
But again, also what a physical comedian. Like, there's a great scene in Roxanne where he's just doing this he's like walking like he has suction cups on all of his things, and like for like 2 or 3 minutes, it's like and it's just this great little physical bit. Yeah. Stick around, Rachel. Stick around. But yeah, Steve, and another person who has had so many different kind of careers. Like, you can find clips of Steve Martin doing comedy magic on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour in the 60s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When he still had brown hair.
Yeah.
And now he's a bluegrass musician.
Talk about versatile.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And, and he makes weird, almost funny movies like L.A. Story.
Right.
He's just a fascinating career. But like, he was one of the first comedians that was freaking selling out stadiums.
Yeah.
In the 70s, he was a stadium act. He was playing like football stadiums to do King Tut.
Yeah, which is wild.
And that's that was a big part of this, of the sort of comedy boom.
Mm-hmm.
My 70s pick is a little bit cheating because it's probably more a late 60s pick, but I love Bob Newhart.
Oh, yeah.
And like Bob Newhart's comedy records are so amazing. I've played it actually on After Dark, but one of my favorite bits is he has a whole bit about the creator of baseball pitching baseball as a game to the Parker brothers.
Mm.
And the whole bit is just he had a running thing where it would be you would hear his side of a phone call. And so this, the whole thing is making fun of the rules of baseball. And so he'd be like, "Oh, okay, so I see three strikes and you're out. And oh, if you get too many balls, you walk. So I assume that's three. Oh, four balls. Oh, okay, just like this whole one-sided monologue about how silly the rules of baseball are.
Mm-hmm.
Great stuff. But just everything Bob Newhart does.
Yeah, he was really talented.
Is
very
fantastic.
Funny guy.
All right, your number 8 pick.
So I had the last 2 picks in my head, but you mentioned baseball. This is a baseball stream.
Is Max Patkin getting the call?
No, this is going to be an interesting. I'm going to say Abbott and Costello.
Oh, I like it.
The classic "Who's on first? What's on?" That skit, I will always laugh at. I think that's one of the funniest comedy skits. It's brilliant. It's pure brilliance.
The timing of it.
Yeah.
Just the timing and the importance of Costello, of Abbott being the straight man there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Abbott and Costello they showed you the power of the straight man. Yeah. Because everybody thinks that it was Lou, the crazy guy, but it was Abbott that was the center of the thing as the straight man.
Yeah. Yeah. And they were so funny together. So I had to throw them on the list too.
I think that is a fantastic pick. I love it. So one of my weird comedy things is I love impressions.
Okay.
I love impressions and impressionists. But what I love most is when the impressionist is not a carbon. They're not trying to be a carbon copy. Instead, they're infusing the character and really theming it. And I also love SCTV, which if you don't know, was Canada's answer to Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
With John Candy.
John Candy. Yeah.
John Candy, Martin Short, who, they should be on this list. Eugene Levy, Joe Flaherty, all these fabulous people. But the person that I want to pick out because, talk about people that had 8 different careers, is Catherine O'Hara.
Oh, yeah.
Was, she was in Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
She was fantastic.
That's such a good pick.
She's been in all of the mockumentaries, Guffman, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Fantastic. A Mighty, she plays the movie A Mighty Wind. She actually plays a serious, she plays that whole role straight.
Yeah.
And lets everyone else be loony around her. And that's the emotional center of the movie. So she was not only SCTV, she was basically she was every female impression.
Yeah.
Not totally true. Andrea Martin did a great Joyce DeWitt and a couple others, but Catherine O'Hara did the lion's share of the impressions.
Yeah.
But then she also just created all these bizarre characters like Lola Heatherton and all these silly characters that I loved. But every one of them, her secret to her every character is a sadness. There's a sadness to everything that kind of and not a bitter sadness, but a bittersweet, just sort of a wistful I should have been something else,
Yeah, and you can tell she ties it in so well too. She was very, very brilliant. An extremely good actress too.
Yeah, somebody who was could play broad, but that can also play these tiny little notes at the same time. In Schitt's Creek, she's playing very broad,
Yeah.
but that character is grounded in real life.
Yeah.
And that's a
you
beautiful
can see
thing.
the influences too, for sure.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting because I was watching a documentary about her, and you know, she didn't think of herself as a comedian.
Mm,
She was an actress,
right.
you know, but I personally think she's a comedian. So
Oh, she
there you
found
go.
a
That's
niche,
my
for sure.
so your last pick.
My last pick. I'm gonna end it with a woman who I think is absolutely hilarious, and she's actually, I think she's British too. Diane Morgan.
I do not know this name.
She is more recent. I think she's become popular very recently. She's well known for playing these like parody characters, kind of doing these mock
She's
interviews.
Kunk.
Philomena
Okay.
Kunk. Yeah, Philomena Kunk. Exactly.
We love Kunk. Okay, I didn't know that was her real name.
So
yeah,
she was on this show called, it was something like Last Laugh. It's by the UK, where they get a bunch of comedians together and the last one to laugh wins.
Oh yeah, we've wanted to watch that. It's been on our list.
It's hilarious. I highly recommend it. So she was on the latest season and it had me in stitches. It's so funny.
She has one of the best deadpans.
Yep. And like you could see kind of a theme, like Diane Morgan, Norm Macdonald, Mitch Hedberg, this deadpan delivery. Yeah. I'm a big fan of the deadpan delivery, you know?
I was so blown away by what was it, the first one, Kunk on Earth?
Yeah. She's
just
so
incredible.
funny.
I mean, like, I had not laughed that hard in a long time.
Yeah. She's hilarious.
And I see her pop up now. You're right. She kind of pops up in all sorts of stuff. But now I definitely want to watch that.
Yeah, I highly recommend it if you need a good laugh.
Well, my last pick is also a woman, and is I intentionally put this one last because this is probably my favorite comedian of any sort. And again, it's somebody who could do almost anything, and did it always with heart, and that is Gilda Radner.
Oh, Gilda Radner, yeah.
Who was, you know, as much as people say Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, whatever, she was the heart of the early Saturday Night Live. Sorry, franchise, Jane Curtin. I was thinking of her, but Gilda Radner, just the way that she was so game to do anything in that show, but also then like her early comedy. Another one who didn't think of herself as a comedian, you know, but was able to hold her own with Belushi and Aykroyd and that whole crew, and to really even rise above it, and you know, stayed funny and active all throughout. Do you have any honorable mentions that, you know, people that you wish you could have worked in? Oh my God,
there's so many.
I would definitely, Lily Tomlin would be high on that list.
I mean, I would say for me, it's like Stephen Wright, Sam Kinison are two good ones. Kinison was nuts. Like, he was just crazy.
And I mean, the funny thing was, like, I still don't know if it was a bit or not.
I don't think anyone does. I think he took that to the grave, honestly.
And in that same vein, like Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
Like, who knows if it was a bit, if it wasn't, you know. So I, years and years and years ago, I saw, so Lily Tomlin had a one-woman show, a Broadway show called The Search for Intelligent Life in the Universe, which was fantastic. And I saw it, and at one point in like the second act, she forgot her lines. And like the whole crowd just started cheering her, and like, you know, just the outpouring of love. And later on, I talked with someone else who had seen the show, and it turns out that was a bit. She did it every time.
That's so funny.
She pretended to forget her lines and to get that response from the crowd.
That is fun. And to be able to do that and make it feel real takes talent, you know?
Yeah. No, I love it. Do I have any modern people? I mean, Dana Gould he's kind of popular right now.
even Weird Al. He's
Weird Al,
timeless, you
yeah.
know. He's
I
timeless.
swear that Dr. Zayas thing is all over my social media. Like every time I'm on like Facebook or something, I'm getting clips of him doing that, and I always watch because it's just hilarious.
I mean, I would also add to my honorable mentions. I would say Dave Chappelle is another good one. He's controversial, but I think he's hilarious. His stand up is so funny.
Yeah. So look, there are many advantages to living in San Francisco, but I got to the Chronicle, the local newspaper, would do a comedy day in Golden Gate Park every year, and look, you'd sit through a lot of bad comedy, but then all of a sudden, Robin Williams would do a set, or Dave Chappelle would do a set, and you're seeing these guys in like 1994 or something, when very few people know who they are. And yeah, I mean, the observation of Chappelle is, I love.
Next level. He's so funny.
Yeah. And I mean, that show was such an of its moment. Like, just it had a viewpoint, and it just tore everything apart.
Yeah.
It made fun of everything, and that was sort of its power.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I will never. I keep going back to the Chappelle being the black guy who like joins the Klan and doesn't realize he's black. That's like such good stuff.
That's one of the funniest. Oh my god, so funny.
Since you did a canceled comic, I'll do my canceled comic. Who, let's be clear, terrible person, but early Woody Allen was like formative in my comedy.
Yeah.
And to this day, I will always say the funniest thing ever written is in Woody Allen's book Without Feathers. It is a story about two men playing chess by mail. And the concept of the whole thing is that these two guys are so egotistical that they start to play different games. And so, like, the letters they write each other are like, well, I just can't imagine you would be so stupid as to actually do that move. I can only assume what you meant was. And so there's like chess notation of these two games as they become completely divergent.
That's actually hilarious.
And it's and the punchline is that they come to verbal blows in their letters, and they like start carping, and then one of them says, all right, fine, I propose we play Scrabble. I will begin with these letters, and and it's like, how do you play Scrabble by mail?
Yeah, exactly. That is funny.
Yeah, there we go. That was season 1. Yeah, that was it started with that, and it was fantastic. Oh, man. Automod does not like the use of the word Klansman. Instead, you should talk about Gaylord Perry.
Twitch and their Automod. Man.
So, if we want to do, talking about baseball, Garrett Morris should get a little shout out for his Chico Escuela character from Saturday Night Live. Speaking of the Mets, Chico Escuela was a Met. Yeah. But Garrett Morris was one of the original cast members, and my favorite bit of his was he did the hearing impaired news, and he would just start screaming. So like the news person would go, and now our top story again for the hearing impaired. Our top story tonight. Our top story tonight. Never failed to kill me. Oh, love it. And then he showed up in my favorite bad comedy horror movie, The Stuff, which is a movie about a dessert that takes over the world.
Oh my God.
Garrett Morris plays Chocolate Chip Charlie, who is
Chocolate chip Charlie.
a thinly veiled rip on Famous Amos. And like the whole time I'm watching that movie, I'm like, who hates Famous Amos enough to be like, I'm gonna get that guy? It was just so weird that they
What did
felt the
Famous
need.
Amos ever do to you? You know?
Yeah, who's like mad at? You know, it's weird. I didn't see a lot of Key and Peele.
Key and Peele's so funny.
I have not seen a great deal of Key and Peele. I think that was, I don't know why I haven't seen. I didn't watch. That might have been when I started watching not as much TV or something. But I've seen some clips. My favorite Key and Peele thing is the guy who gets very excited when he gets like the smallest upgrade in his travel. And so they're like, well, sir, we're going to upgrade you to economy plus. Oh, well, this is how the other half lives. You know? Love that character. That's a good character. Well, Karini, it is very late on your end now, and you've been very generous with your time. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. It's so fun to get to know the various affiliates in a little way here, and I hope that we'll have you back on and we can do we can find a way to make comedy even more obscure.
Yeah. Hey, look, I had a fantastic time. Thank you for having me. I think this has been fantastic. I would love to come back on down the road for sure.
Nice.
I felt like we've had a great conversation, just kind of learning about each other. This comedy draft, I think, was really, really cool. It gave me a good kind of sight into in your mind too, right? That's like how you kind of perceive things, which I think is fantastic. Speaking about OOTP, how we played the game, I thought from start to finish, I had a fantastic time.
Well, I mean, you are so much more successful at OOTP than I will ever be. So hopefully, I hope other people, I learned at least, there's at least one thing I'm going to be doing differently after this, and I'm going to be setting opener lineups. But I really appreciate it, and I hope we see you streaming more often.
Yeah, for sure. I've got a 1-year-old, so it's trying to balance that. But I do try to find time if I can, every night if I can, for at least an hour. But if not, at least a couple times a week,
I have been remiss as a bad host, but everybody, if you're not already, now I have to spell Harpua. Everyone, give Karini a follow if you're not already following, and his icon there is a hint to his name. But we will. So I'm going to let you go because it's like after midnight there, and you have a 1-year-old who will be up soon, no doubt.
Probably, yeah. She's crazy.
But thanks so much for hanging out.
Oh, this has been great. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope you have a really good night.
Same to you, man. All right, we'll talk with you soon.
Take care. Thanks, everybody.
That was awesome. Yeah. My list was super white. Stephen Fry. That's but I don't know. Now all I'm thinking about are like black comedians that I really love. Man, who? So here's an incredibly sad admission. The first black comedian that I loved before even Richard Pryor was it Byron? Who was it was Byron Allen on Real People. There was a show in the 70s. So there were 2 shows in the 70s. I think it was early 80s, maybe. Real People and That's Incredible. And That's Incredible was kind of like crappy Ripley's Believe It or Not with John Davidson and all this stuff. Real People was like a sort of comedy slice of life show. And like Skip Stevenson was the main host. But Byron Allen was the literally token black guy. And for like a hot minute, he was my favorite thing on television. I loved Byron Allen. Then what the first thing of Richard Pryor's that I saw was Silver Streak, and I love Gene Wilder, so that was my inroad because Richard Pryor did a bunch of stuff with Gene Wilder, and it always made me happy. And Cleavon Little from Blazing Saddles, oh, so good. But I mean, again, Gene Wilder. That was awesome. I could talk comedy for a long time. I am a big fan of the medium, as it were. All right, before we I think it could be made today. And if it were made today, the same people that say it couldn't be made today would be like, that's so woke. And that I mean, I really challenge, in a world where Jackass 37 can get made, I think Blazing Saddles could get made today. And again, I mean, there's plenty of stuff that is more transgressive, but nowhere near as smart as Blazing Saddles that is made today. What I just saw, the guy from The Office was like, "Oh, The Office couldn't be made today. It's too un-PC," and that is patently not true. It's, you know, The Office could totally be made today, and every TV network is trying to make The Office today. Yeah, and that's a great example, Clay Dog. Always Sunny in Philadelphia is still on in a world where Always Sunny is on. You know, that argument is really not, it doesn't hold a muster, because Always Sunny, super smart, I mean, some really I love that show. I think it's really well done. And there was a great, man, during COVID, the cast did mainly the three guys, but they did a podcast where they watched every episode and talked about it. And that was really interesting. I would watch that a lot. It was neat to hear them kind of talk about the technical comedy aspects of being so dumb and so offensive. It was really interesting to hear that, but also being wrapped in these three guys being super famous, and so that was part of it too, where they sort of were trying to maybe they were almost struggling with trying to be relatable, you know, with trying to relate to kind of the human experience in a world where your chai oat milk latte is always brought to you by your third personal assistant, you know, which was a weird sort of part of that podcast. And how do you kind of stay edgy and funny when your life is nothing but privilege? It was very interesting. I liked that a lot. I think they just kind of ran out of gas. I mean, they're also super busy. Like, that's the other thing you learn from that podcast is how ridiculously busy they are, because as soon as they're done filming the show, they start writing the next season. And so they're like, it's this cycle that never ends. They are just ridiculously busy. One of the running jokes was that they were always late to the taping because they were doing something else, because they had, you know, so much going on in their lives. Before we head over, we're going to do our 5L draft for tomorrow. Then we will right over to my buddy franchise. Now I just want to watch like SCTV clips for a long time. Actually, really, I want to watch Garrett Morris doing the hearing impaired news. That is one of my favorite bits. And like, the funny thing is, every time you know it's coming, and every time it's funny. And partly it's funny because of the sort of the Family Guy school of just like, they just keep doing it. they run as we joke about in my D&D group that I play with. We kill the horse, we resurrect it, we kill it again, then we resurrect it again. So again, this is the 5L. It's a low-level dead ball, so it's mainly bronze and lower cards. Basically, you care about P-Babbit. I don't like how splitty Warnicky is, but his nickname is the Arkansas Hummingbird, and that's hard to pass up. You really don't care about home run allowed in this tournament. It's basically all P-Babbit, maybe a little control. Stuff, well, actually, now that they changed, I'm going to be interested to see, because they changed the run environment to 1913. And so I'm wondering how if stuff will still kind of be a thing. I'm intrigued. We'll see. Lap was saying today that there were fewer complete games in 1930. He was noticing, which I think is very interesting. Could have an impact on do you want to draft more pitchers then? I kind of like Kenny Lofton. I wish he had more gap power to go with that speed. I think that Brent Maine is a really good low ball catcher, though. So we're going to go Brent Maine. I mean, that's how I do all my drafts, right? I don't know these cards. I say I don't know these cards, then I'm like, you got to draft Hyun-Soo Kim. And actually, Felipe Lopez, you really need to draft as well. So I don't know these cards, but here's 2 cards you've got to draft. I'm a Jose Hernandez fan as well. You know who didn't get mentioned? Oh, hey, you're not seeing the draft. Thank you for telling me that. This is good to know. That was my intent, indeed. Boy, the draft looks much better when you can't see what I'm doing. Huh. That's very interesting, franchise. That is very interesting. I like this Jackie Hayes card. Again, gap, power, and speed. One of my favorite things. I probably don't want to play him in center. Play him all over. I probably really only want to play him in right, I should say. Although sneaky, I want to play him at catcher. That's usually why I draft Jackie Hayes, to play him at catcher. In fact, the other thing that I usually do is I usually set position to catcher. Babich is okay. But somebody who, should have been mentioned and wasn't, Joan Rivers, who was, she was super 70s, 80s. Oh man, trust me, he was right on the cusp. As if my list wasn't wide enough to add Martin Short, who is human mayonnaise. But God, I love Martin Short. I limited myself to one SCTV member because I would have just done them all. I really don't like my second pick here. Yeah, I guess it's Concepcion, but I'm not a fan. But I guess that's the answer. I think Daryl May is a pretty easy pick here. I still don't get the Spud Johnson thing. Lap says that the numbers are there. I just don't get it. I'm surprised Steve Martin hasn't called Martin Short human mayonnaise. That seems like a line they'd use. Martinez or Johnson? I'm going to go Martinez. Ozuna's splitty, right? No, Ozuna's not splitty. All right. I can work with that. And then, John Morrill, that's a pretty good dead ball first or third baseman. You can work with that. Jesse Duria, great dead ball starter. A must pick. And look, I'm gonna go. They say he's meta. I'm gonna say okay. And Johnny Noon will be on the team. He's done okay for me. I mean, he's not Shohei Ohtani. Which it's still so weird to me because I look at that and I'm like, I should really draft Shohei, but every time, at what point am I the problem for keep doing it? But I'm clearly experiencing an outlier experience there. There was somebody else in chat who said they had the same experience with Shohei. I felt so seen. Ooh, this is a bad round. I mean, we got to pick Vinegar Tom. We are nothing if not beholden to nicknames here. Part of me, as a bit, wanted to, as soon as we started doing the draft, pick like the worst names possible. To just pick terrible comedians. Like, who was the guy that did the offensive nursery rhymes? Like, pick him, pick Louis C.K. I actually had like an offensive list. Woody Allen was not an honorary mention on that list. But then I was like, maybe conceptual comedy is not the place here. But I just love the idea of like picking or like picking not funny people. Andrew Dice Clay, that's who it was. Yeah, lowball comedians draft. Somewhere Flying WV just perked up. But that idea just amused me. Or like picking people who weren't funny. So like picking soap opera actors or something. Yeah, Pauly Shore, Carrot Top. And like giving like an impassioned defense of Carrot Top. Which I'm not sure even I could do. By the way, have you seen Carrot Top recently? He is a roided out monster. It's so weird. He is like, he's kind of terrifying. Well, I mean, more terrifying. He was already objectively pretty terrifying. I don't want really any of these. I mean, I don't know that to be true, but it sure looks like it. It does look like he's had some work done. He looks like Raggedy Ann. Yeah, if Raggedy Ann was like 220 pound linebacker, He looks like Raggedy Ann from the East German Olympic team. There's a dated reference for. Maybe Willie Mack, because I only have 3 outfielders. Yeah. That's, yeah. Oh, Gallagher would have been on my list for sure. Yeah. And Rob Schneider would have been on there. I would have picked all the greats. I wouldn't have put Gilbert Godfrey on there because I genuinely like Gilbert Godfrey. And he had some funny bits. And he steals the show in the Jim Varney. Jim Varney. You know, Jim Varney had one funny bit. Jim Varney has a bit where he complains about being a classically trained Shakespearean actor and being reduced to being Hay Verne. And he goes on this whole bit about his Shakespearean work and all this stuff. And it was a good bit. He commits to it. I wonder if I need to go to a 4-man rotation in 1913. If what they were saying was, not relievers were coming in more. I'm going to try 3 again and see what happens. I would rather have Daryl May be my number 2 starter than Lon Warnicki. Yeah, and that was, but he turned it into a joke in that respect. Oh man, another guy who was an amazing impressionist was Flip Wilson. Flip Wilson, man, he could have been my 70s pick. Doggone it. That would have been a good pick. Flip Wilson was amazing. Now, a couple of his impressions were, would not be done today, let's just say. But he did a lot of really observed, interesting stuff around race and gender. He was, a lot of his characters were female, which was kind of neat. He's really good. Oh my gosh, we've done this whole time and neither of us mentioned Bernie Mac. Oh man. Cultural bias, kids, it's real. But Bernie Mac, there was that movie in the 90s, and I think it was in the 90s, The Kings of Comedy. And I didn't really, D.L. Hughley, I could take or leave. The other guy, Cedric the Entertainer, I didn't love. But Bernie Mac was just, he blew me away. Cedric had the one funny bit about driving the car, and it was a good pantomime bit. But Bernie Mac was just so smart and so fast. I really liked Bernie Mac. Yeah, I was not a Patrice O'Neill guy, I got to admit. I did not. But that was like a whole weird school of comedy with him and with who's the guy who kept almost dying? Artie Lang. Ouch franchise. Ouch. See, franchises again just mad that Jane Curtin didn't make the list for Kate and Alley. Yeah, I didn't. That whole Artie Lang, Patrice O'Neill, kind of Howard Stern school of comedy. I never really Yeah, I know you're a Susan St. James guy. I know. But she was the straight one. She was the straight person, which in that show might have actually been the case. I don't know. But oh, Carol Burnett. I actually thought about just having the entire cast of the Carol Burnett show, because writ large, they were fantastic. Vicki Lawrence was genius. Carol Burnett, of course, was genius. Mary Tyler Moore would also be a great name on that list. Mr. Grant. But I mean, Tim Conway and Harvey Korman. Speaking of good straight men. Oh, Jim J. Bullock. I have invested more time than I care to admit. That was Sherry Lewis with Lamb Chop. And Lamb Chop was surprised. But look, if you're gonna Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop it, we're gonna go Waylon Flowers and Madam. Because Waylon Flowers and Madam could only exist in the world of the 80s. And then we'd go Willie Tyler and Lester. Oh, I loved Too Close for Comfort. Now, if you can work in an It's a Living joke. And Jillian. Wow. But I have spent more time than I care to admit trying to figure out how to do me too, Smokey. Me too. Trying to figure out how to do the Hollywood Squares on Zoom or something so that we could do an affiliate Hollywood Squares game. I really want to try and figure out how to do this because I think that would be so much fun. I did it for several years at my local gaming convention with our celebrity guests, where I would have them be the celebrities, but they would all sit on stools and they'd hold up X's and O cards, and the audience was playing. But I've been trying to figure out how to play Hollywood Squares on stream. It is surprisingly hard to do, to get that many boxes up there. I'm still I'm still looking. Is that a thing? Is that like an add-on or something? No, does not appear so. But I would love to try and figure that out, because I think that would be really fun. The other thing that I want to do, that I think we'll do maybe for the affiliate holiday party, is there is a British radio game show that Rachel and I have come to love called Just a Minute. And the idea of Just a Minute is that you have a panel of 3 or 4 people, wonderful erudite British authors, comedians, raconteurs. So we'd have affiliates, and you get a topic like, I don't know, the infield fly rule. And you have to talk for a minute without hesitating, deviating, or without hesitation, repetition, or deviation. So you can't you can't say the same word over unless it is in the subject. So if you get the subject, the infield fly rule, you can say any of those words. You can say infield fly rule over and over and over. And deviating, if they ask about the Taskmaster would be kind of fun, although much more limited, because I'd have to ask people to film themselves or something. I've been fooling around with that idea as well, trying to figure out a way to do that. But Just a Minute, I think, lends itself really well to this. But here's the key with Just a Minute, and the thing that makes it genius is that the host, which would in this case be me, is in fact the judge. But what the host is adjudicating is the challenges of other players. So the host is not the one who says, you duplicated. Instead, the other players have to listen and pay attention to what the speaker is saying and be ready to challenge if they duplicate or if they hesitate, that sort of thing. And then, so you have to do it for a minute. And as soon as you challenge, the clock stops. And if your challenge is correct, you then take over the clock. And now you have to talk about the infield fly rule for 37 seconds or however long. And I mean, that's the genius of the game to me. Oh, Rachel as Rachel Riley is pretty good. Although I don't think any of the affiliates are smart enough to play Countdown. Do we have any like math savants in the affiliate community? Like, I can't play the math one. I just would lose so miserably. I could do the letter one pretty well. But the math one, I would be totally lost. I don't know how Rachel Riley does that. It's fascinating. But I do love 8 out of 10 cats does do Countdown. That makes me very happy. All right, franchise, are you up and running? I will raid over. Nope, not yet. Well, to quote a wise man, start it up. That would be my wife Rachel. She'd be playing the dictionary corner part of that. Actually, when we play Just a Minute, Rachel will have the very important job of being timekeeper and also the whistleblower, because when the minute is done, a whistle blows. And by tradition, the whistle is blown right in the host's ear. Rachel's really looking forward to that. But yeah, those are. Oh, you know what? While franchise fires up, I need to do my bagels and schmear draft. So let's do that very quickly. I think I need to do my bagels and schmear draft. I've been on a bad run of missing drafts, especially the 6L. I've missed the 6L like twice, which is no bueno. All right, we'll do the bagels and schmear while franchise powers up the toaster that he plays OOTP on. He's putting the nut in front of the squirrel on the treadmill that powers his machine. And this is his new computer. I'm concerned. This guy's nickname is Sunday Teddy. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's a Rachel-sized treadmill. Yeah. We're gonna go with Dobie. Wow, that was almost a minute of my time right there. I like Sunny Gray. I'm especially in like later eras or earlier eras, I should say. I like this shape of lower control with better other numbers. Dobie, can you play all over? Not really. You can play second. All right, let's take Corey Seager then for his night moves. Ah, man. Well, now, I mean, maybe we run Pablo at catcher. And here's the new Carlos Baerga. I don't like, even though we're playing in 1935, this didn't change, right? It's still 1935. Yeah. I don't love the home run there. Is the big train better than the El Presidente? Not really. More stuff. But we're going to go with El Presidente. Yeah, I want a little more HRA. Please do, franchise. You're appearing in a charity stream? I'm already intrigued. What terrible disease do you have? Foot and mouth? That would be a disease I would get.
Is it going to be a charity stream for
Yes, it's crawl space aid. Franchise is he's appearing in crawl space aid to raise awareness for froggers everywhere.
They don't want to.
Oh, see, now you just make me feel bad, Franchise. Like, now I look like the bad guy because I'm making fun, and you're like, it's for trans kids. It is. I do feel bad. Yes. Is it gonna be on Ophi's channel? Let's do a shout out. And will I be able to raid in tomorrow? Because I will totally raid that. That is fantastic. And what a great thing to do for Pride Month. Well done, Franchise. I believe Ophi has been in your stream before when I have been in there. Seems like good people. Oh, well, yeah, I'm not going to be up that late. But still very worth supporting. Will you do me a favor and let me know when there's a link so that I can support financially as well? Because I will totally support that. Especially if there's a way that I can support it and you don't get credit for it. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Bring the OOTP crew over. I love it. I would leave my computer on just to like make sure there was another viewer. I don't like my second pick here. This is not a great silver round. I guess it's Monty Irvin. Maybe Bert. Oh, every team needs a Bert. Bert. Hey, Bert. Wow, thank you. It sounds remarkable. You know, Bert and Ernie and Kermit sound very much alike. Kermit is just awkward Ernie. Hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here. The this Utley card is not terrible. Good old Rico Suave here. Do you remember Rico Suave? This one-hit wonder. The guy's name was Gerardo. That's why this card makes me think of it. Do Rico Suave. That was some like mid-90s trash. Ripley's there. Ah, nice. Thank you, Franchise. Mermaids UK. That is a wonderful thing and well worth supporting. Unlike Rico Suave, who should be denounced by all and sundry repeatedly. Bronze Ricky is my least favorite Ricky. Jackie. What am I saying? I didn't sleep well last night, in my defense. Except, like, well, I mean, Pablo can play all over. Pablo's going to be my backup catcher. And probably my first baseman. So I guess we'll take Tomey and Carmark. I have 9 pitchers, so one more will probably do me. Sadly, it will not be Johnny Burkett, 2 sports superstar. Giants legend. Are you splitting? Yeah, but still, it's not bad. All right. Then I guess we'll take unfrozen caveman baseball player Johnny Damon. $100%. 100%. That is a great message, franchise. Even if you can't support financially, you can support a trans child just by a little thing like using their pronouns or asking how they want to be addressed or just treating them like a human being. Crazy idea. Just going to throw out there. But yes, support, just being a caring adult for a trans kid, being a safe place is huge. And, I think that, look, everyone in this community understands and respects pronouns. We all do it with Smiley Face Jane, and that's great. But it can't just be the one person you know. You need to do it across the board. You need to have that example be the guide for all of your actions, not just the one of the good ones. And that's super important. Boy, they do not like my idea of Pablo Sandoval as well. They want to have Jim. They don't like my Jim Thome idea either. Versus a righty. Yeah, all right. He's better. All right, let's raid over to franchise, see what sort of shenanigans are going to happen from inside my crawl space. I just almost reflexively rated Alf. Don't think I didn't think about putting Alf on that list. I considered it. Oh, he's building the Father's Day and Juneteenth rosters. I like it. Juneteenth is coming up. It's Friday, June 19th. A good day to reflect and celebrate. And then Father's Day is this weekend, I guess. Huh. All right. Let's raid over to franchise. If you haven't seen a franchise stream, you are in luck. He is one of my faves, one of the best affiliates out there. I hope you'll hang around and enjoy with me. Goodbye, internet friends.